Yoga teachers need to learn how to take care of themselves. Yoga needs to be taught differently. We need better practice. We need to go deeper. And just listen to that statement for a second. Yoga teachers need to learn how to take care of themselves. Yoga teachers need to take better care of themselves. Yoga teachers are getting burnt out. They're getting hurt. Yoga teachers are getting disillusioned. They're getting hurt. Listen to how ridiculous that statement is. Yoga teachers need to learn how to take care of themselves. We went into this practice because we are people who care. It's more than just yoga teachers who need to learn how to take care of themselves. We are all people who care. If you're watching this, then you know on some level that the way our world works has a lot of harm in it. You are aware that stress itself is harmful. You are aware that inequity, unfairness, selfishness, and fear are harmful. You are aware that there is something noble in the quest to live a better life. We don't know what to do we? We don't know how to model getting a good night's sleep, taking care of yourself, self-respect to our students, even though we say that's what we're teaching. We don't know how to change our life and change our habits so that we could have less stress. We don't know how to eat in a way that is healthy and still feel satisfied and not slip back sometimes when emotions come up. We don't know how to hold our own emotions with compassion. We don't know how to actually teach mindfulness to our children. We don't know how to deal with global warming. We don't know who we as yoga teachers should be really in society. We don't know how we're going to be paid. When our world really starts to fall apart around us, how to do anything other than practice. And if the world is falling apart around you and what you know is the practice, and you run into a yoga studio and you bliss out while the world really needs you to be somewhere else, you're still hurting. We don't know how to deal with our own body when our shoulder goes out of whack and we can't practice chaturanga. Because all we've been taught are these asana and the alignment of asana. So as far as we know and have experienced, the well-being and the attending and the sometimes God feeling that comes happened because of triangle pose. Happened because of the alignment. Happened inside of the asana. But you know what? There is no fucking enlightenment inside triangle pose. There is enlightenment inside a body. I remember coming out of my first teacher training and being terrified because really all I had gathered out of training was an awareness of how big the world of asana was and how very, very little I knew. And I was terrified. And that's the way that we're taught both yoga and self-care in Ayurveda. We say, on the one hand, that yoga is healing. And Ayurveda, I think, then has to come in. If we're going to say that yoga is medicinal, then we need to understand the medicine of yoga. Both of those systems are taught by showing you this more than encyclopedic, vast amount of information that you can never master. You can never do all of the poses. You can never master even downward facing dog. And you cannot learn Ayurveda. It's a science that is 2,000, 5,000 years old. You cannot learn that. You couldn't read all of the medical texts that were written in our last century. So how are you going to learn a practice that has that much experience in it? You can't really practice those high-level things. But that's the way that we're taught. And there's this trope about practice and all is coming. And when you go to trainings, when you go to studios, when you go to then more trainings, we get this idea that the bliss happened inside triangle pose. If I learn more than triangle pose or a better triangle pose, then I myself am going to be a better person, or things are somehow going to work themselves out. And the same thing happens with Ayurveda. But the thing is, I really think that neither of those sciences were intended to be given to us in this list of food or list of rules. They're not. When you really talk to an Ayurvedic practitioner, when you really talk to a yogi who understands mind, body, and philosophy, it's a question of what were you feeling, how were you present when you got that sensation in triangle pose. Because you can get that sensation without the quote-unquote triangle pose. And no matter where your body happens to be, if you could really be attending to whatever is present and in the rhythm of what is present, then you're in the vinyasa of that moment. And that is where the healing is coming from, not the triangle pose. So let's say this. Let's say that we could break apart the rules of yoga, of sequencing, of poses, and break apart the rules of Ayurveda so that we could take 10 things that are actual practices that you could literally apply in the next 2 minutes and start to biochemically change the way that you sleep tonight so that when you wake up tomorrow, you'll have a different experience of waking up, of getting out of bed and then going into your morning. We know that it wasn't an idea of feeling good. It was an experience of feeling something. And it's going deeper into the details of our own what happens to be going on right now that we literally start to change our chemistry and the way that we're made. And it is attending to everything that happens to be present inside your own body and mind and inside the world around you that actually gives you a path to move forward on. And we can teach those skills. And most of us know that it has to be out of the narrative of our own life that any kind of real change is going to come. I think that it is absolutely there. And I think that I can teach it. And I think that yoga teachers need to be taught how to do this.